Well, everybody, we made it. It has been a full year of the main viewer. Woohoo! Party on. So today we're going to do something a little bit different. Rather than looking forward into the main viewer, we're going to be looking in the rear view mirror and looking back at the year that was. But first, let's introduce the folks here. You're probably wondering, why am I speaking? Well, it's because Ryan T. Husk had tons of fun and lost his voice as a result of that. Ryan T. Husk is here, who is producer extraordinaire, all-around great guy, person who oversees the seventh rule and just is the pun master himself. Hello, Ryan.
Hey, guys. Yeah, I lost my voice from all the smoke and fun, but I'm still here typing things and pushing buttons and sipping on cough drops. And I have a ice pack on my lap because it's 100 degrees in LA.
Wait, is it in a paper bag?
That's a rookie move, man. It's gonna melt right on through, and you're just gonna have pulp in your lap.
So worth it.
We also have outstanding director, Steadicam operator, and writer Scott Baker.
Hey, what's up? I'm here on my couch because it's right next to the air conditioner because it's super hot down here in LA as well. So change of venue for everybody. Get to see the other side of my living room.
Smart call. Next we have Melissa Longo, who is artist extraordinaire, actress extraordinaire. Did you know she was in the first episode of 30 Rock? And you can find her wares on Introverted Republic. Is that right? What's that?
Introverted Republic. It wasn't the first episode.
Okay. Episode.
An episode. I just used it as my background.
Nice. We have not two-time, but three-time Emmy winner or Emmy nominee.
Getting close to winner this year. I'm fingers crossed. I'll at least get one.
Yes.
Meteorologist Katie Nicholaw.
What's up, everyone?
You know, Katie.
I'm sorry about the heat.
Katie was a hit at Star Trek Las Vegas 56-year mission, especially with her Janeway cosplay with the macro virus chasing her.
Oh, yes.
Definitely look for that on social media if you haven't already seen it. And finally, last but absolutely not least, we have Dr. Anne-Marie Siegel, who does research and other things for the seventh rule, and is just all-around positive person.
Hi.
Yeah.
Yay. All right. Well, again, we're not going to look back today, we're not going to look forward today, but we're going to be looking in the rear view mirror at the year that was. So those of you in chat, actually, let's say hi to some folks in chat. Let's see, we've got Gaylinda, we got John Brewer, hello, Chuck A, JR Poole, Linda Anderegg, Anil Palat, our good friend there, the Storm and Latter-day Saint, Gary T, David Gregory, DJ Kitty Cat, and lots more.
Hi, Becca.
Hi to Becca. Who's Becca?
My brother's girlfriend.
Ah, fantastic.
Nice.
Well, those of you in chat, if you have some thoughts on exciting news from like up to a year ago, you know, from yesterday through a year back, pop it in the chat and maybe we'll talk about that too. What are the things that excited you the most? It's fun to think about like what it was, you know, a year ago. Like we had not seen any episodes of Star Trek Prodigy. We had not seen any episodes of Strange New Worlds.
Yeah.
Oh.
Wow.
That is strange to
New
think
World.
about.
And obviously the elephant in the room is that we're about to hit Star Trek Day. So this is like the wrap up because we started TMV right after Star Trek Day last year. So it's going to coincide with our season. Super
Excellent
excited.
point, Dr. Anne-Marie.
Yeah.
Well, and that was something that we were looking forward to last year too, was Star Trek Day, which was a lot of fun.
Ryan, were you trying to show us something there?
Oh, yeah.
He's having problems.
Well, Melissa, you were talking about, or both you and Anne-Marie were talking about Star Trek Day. Melissa, you were there at part of the birth of the idea of the main viewer associated with Star Trek Day. Do you want to say a couple of words about that?
Yeah, it was pretty amazing. And I would like to specifically talk about the birth of the idea of the LLAPy Awards, because it was definitely that day. And I was sitting next to Ryan in the audience, and he said, "Remind me to tell you of this idea that I have."
I mean, there was
And
a
the
red
whole
carpet.
thing- yeah, and the whole thing went by, and we're driving back, and after he's like, "You didn't remind me to tell you about this idea."
In
But-
fairness, Rico didn't remind me either. You guys were 0
Yeah.
for 2 on me.
Yeah, but we were both very excited to hear about this idea because it was stellar, and far in the making, too long in the not. That's not the right wording. It was long overdue that Star Trek specifically got awards love. You know.
100% agreed. And we actually saw that re-emphasized just this past week when a lot of the nominations for various awards that had gone to Star Trek series didn't actually go to Star Trek series, even though they deserved them. So
Yeah.
this is unfortunately a common thing with the exception of like the Saturn Awards and sci-fi specific ones. Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's
Sad
start.
and true.
Yeah. Given you Melissa brought up the Laffy Awards. Why don't we start with that? Let's start talking about that, and then we can jump to some of the other news items. So I don't know, Scott, do you want to start? And we haven't said much yet. You want to start telling us a little bit like what were the Laffy Awards?
Well, almost 1 year ago today, we had the famous Laffy Awards, the first annual 2022 Laffy Awards. Yeah, no, I mean, I think it was like you guys were saying, it was pretty awesome that finally we kind of get that love that like Star Trek deserves as far as like awards ceremony kind of thing goes, looking at the different aspects of it. And I remember when Ryan first approached me with the idea, and I was like, yeah, let's do something. And we were kicking around the different names. I think he had already kind of thought that it was going to be the Lappy or some variation on that, but we kicked around a couple other ideas as far as like what the names and the structure and everything, and it seemed really ambitious. And I know that was the idea, was to do something that that kind of like felt like on the scale of the Oscars or the Emmys or something like that, And so I think it's one of those things where you have this idea and it seems really huge, and so okay, let's do this. And then as we started talking about all this stuff, Ryan's like, okay, then I got to do this, and then I got to kind of wrangle this, and I could see really quickly it was like almost feeling like he had bitten off more than he could chew with the whole idea. But
Have you met me?
I know.
It's the same man that
But-
raised like over $1 million for the Voyager doc. So fair.
Right.
Right. So yeah, but so in classic Ryan Husk fashion, he was able to pull it all together, and I think it is one of those things where it in the end, we got something that lived up to what was that initial concept, and surprised us on a few fronts on who we were able to get to come on, and the reception from the virtual TrekCon crew or the Chad and the fans and the audience was really cool to see how many people were tuned in for that, and all the comments and reactions, and it was super cool to be a part of it. I mean, just that it existed, and if I was just a viewer to watch it, but to be part of the part of the whole show was pretty awesome. And I think it's hopefully something that'll not only for us will continue to go forward, but might set the stage for bigger things, and something officially from Paramount or something like that.
Dr. Emery, you were part of the polling process. Do you want to talk about how we came about with what the shortlists were?
That was just so amazing. But first, I just need to mention also, like during the Lappies, how special it was to have Nichelle Nichols do her pre-taped acceptance of the Nichelle Nichols Lifetime Achievement Award, like the first one, and Michelle Hurd to announce it. And I know that Michelle Hurd even told like Ryan and Srock in Vegas how much it meant to her to be able to announce that award. And one of the last times, if not the last time, we saw Nichelle on camera talking to her fans. That was super special. And you can just type in virtual TrekCon Nichelle Nichols to see that segment on YouTube. It's definitely, I've watched it a million times. It's so beautiful. But anyway, the polling process I think was really special too, because like unlike it sort of was retroactively paying due to Star Trek series because we decided to like focus on one, in addition to doing legacy awards, like focus on one legacy series a year. That way, like we can give them a little bit of extra love that they didn't necessarily get in the 90s. Obviously, I know like TNG got nominated 7th season for best drama for the Emmys, but like all the shows deserve so much more. So we basically like came up with 20 or 25 questions and did all these preliminary polls. Some of the categories like garnered like, because you could add in answers in addition to the ones that we chose to auto-populate. And we were getting like 50, 60, 70 responses in some categories. So it was super fun, like, especially the final days watching all the ones going neck and neck to see who would win. And it just like organically came out to be like such a great group of nominees for every single category, legacy, old and new. And it really represented like everybody, which then made us be able to have like a whole slew of amazing people present and accept awards. That was super fun. And I know Ryan will be getting to like how we're gonna go at choosing like categories and nominees and preliminary polls this year. It's going to be a little bit different to like get the excitement up even more. And I mean, I personally can't wait. So that's something to definitely look forward to in season 2 of The Main Viewer. But yeah, I think that about covers it. It was just very, very special.
And we loved this idea that it was not just us, like the 6 of us or the other folks who were involved in it, just picking who the winners were, but like the whole community, like anybody was welcome to vote, and it was just a straight up vote. So that was
Fans Choice Award.
Fans
and
Choice
I have
Award.
to say also the pre-show hype show with Trek Geeks and Sci-Fi Stitches was just amazing. I was so hyped. And then the post-show analysis with Dr. Trek, John Champion from Mission Log, and Shar, who's also I guess host on Mission Log now, and Brie Belke from Greatest Generation fandom. It was just so much fun, like hearing the analysis, because it really did represent like hundreds, thousands of Star Trek fans and what their choices were. So super awesome.
And to see them, like how much they were like, wow, like they were kind of surprised with like the whole production value thing that we had put together.
Because I couldn't, when I like prepped everybody for the pre and post show, I couldn't tell them like who was going to be appearing at the actual award show, because then they would know like who won. And I wanted everybody to not know. So definitely like everyone was like, wait a minute, we didn't realize it was going to be like this. So I can't even wait for season 2 or for the Lappies too.
So Katie, why don't you tell us what were some of your highlight either categories or moments from the actual awards show? You were on that show.
I think, well, honestly, just being able to put on a fancy dress and sit in front of my computer was pretty awesome. Tim Russ, I think when he did the little LLAPy, I remember distinctly being backstage and being like, oh my God, she did that. It was so cool. Honestly, no, my favorite part was just seeing the people that we love from the show getting the recognition that they may or may not get in, actual like Emmys and Oscars. Like, no, we're better than that. We're the Lappies. And that was cool to see them get into the spirit of it all.
Outstanding. We had, 3 of the 4 current showrunners from Star Trek on the show. We had Michelle Paradise live from Discovery. We had Aaron Waltke from Prodigy. We had Mike McMahon from Lower Decks. So at the time there were only 4. We didn't have one the showrunner for Picard, and this was before Strange New Worlds had come out. But 3 of the 4 current showrunners, that's a big deal.
Huge.
As well as
and to think they knew all the things that were coming up, and they didn't tell anyone.
Melissa, do you want to say anything about the Mary Chieffo Ken Mitchell moment there?
Only that there were a lot of tears. There were so many tears because it was such a moving moment. Mary is an amazing person, but they broke the mold when they made Kenneth Mitchell. He is just a stellar human being, a soul we will never see the likes of again. And his warmth and his genuine curiosity about people and his genuine love to be with everyone and be a part of this fandom, Star Trek fandom, it is infectious and so very obvious. And it's so wonderful. It was a wonderful moment, a special moment that should be rewatched over and over and over again, and bring your Kleenex when you do, because it's beautiful.
It was about 45 minutes into the show, and I think the show was a little over 2 hours. So yeah.
Everyone was crying.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah, I expected to have some good laughs and all that kind of stuff throughout the show. I did not expect those moments. I didn't expect to be watery-eyed by the end of the show. It was not what I thought was going to happen, and I'm pleasantly surprised that, usually I'm crying because of Ryan's bad jokes, but this was, something different. So
Thanks, pal.
yeah.
Oh, and I just have to interject a tiny bit of news to say that if you're following Kenneth Mitchell's Twitter and Cool Waters and Doug Jones, they actually threw a party in Vegas and raised a good amount of money for Kenneth Mitchell's family to help with costs. And there's a really sweet picture of them with Kenneth Mitchell giving him the check. So really lovely to see.
I'll piggyback off that and say also coming up on Star Trek Day, Mary Chieffo is one of the hosts. So you can see a sample of how she did, which I completely agree with Melissa. She was stellar and moving and just amazing. I mean, honestly, everybody on the show, looks like we lost Katie. Everybody on the show was just absolutely a pleasure. And speaking of combinations of laughs and tears there, the tribute to Aaron Eisenberg, our brother, that was also extremely moving there at the end as well. So, but well deserved honors for amazing people. We didn't really talk about the categories. I'll just hit a couple of those.
Okay, really fast. I have to also say Kenneth Mitchell's story about his interaction with William Shatner was just such a beautiful moment too. That really was eye-opening to just what goes on behind the scenes, actor to actor, where they're not expecting fans to ever see it. It's just them being people. It's just so beautiful.
That was an epic story. So some of the categories we had, so there were 4 broad groups. One was sort of the legacy Trek, basically the pre-2009 Trek. So things like funniest moment in the Next Generation, for example, was one of the ones everybody voted on. There was a set on current Trek, and specifically the Trek that had happened just in that past 2-year period. We extended it a little bit because of the whole pandemic. So biggest wow moment in Star Trek Discovery, for example, was one of those in there. We also had Star Trek Universe, so things that crossed all the different Star Trek series, which was fun. And then we had, I think you called it Renaissance Trek. Is that what you called it, Ryan?
Yes.
This was basically the first 2 seasons of Star Trek Discovery plus most of Star Trek Lower Decks. So those were the general areas, and then just categories within each of those.
2016, yeah.
What did I say? Did I say Lower Decks?
Whichever
yeah, sorry, I meant short tracks. Yeah. Good call. But yeah, wonderful event. Definitely worth watching the video. It's still on YouTube. This is a great thing about everything from the main viewer virtual TrekCon. It's there. It's content freely available. No payment needed. Just go watch it. It's there for you.
So if you type in virtual TrekCon, LLAPy, it comes out.
Now's the right time to announce that if you'd like to see Virtual TrekCon 3 and the very first Laffy Awards, it's behind a paywall for just $10.99. No, I'm just kidding. All I got today.
Oh no.
But no, wonderful moment. And I agree also with what Katie said earlier, the context of it. It was fun to also all dress up for it and stuff. It was
fancy.
Well, and I have to bring up Scott's bow tie and popcorn.
The popcorn.
Because that was amazing.
Yeah.
That was epic.
I didn't plan for the popcorn to be a thing. I just was, wanted to have popcorn. And
it was perfect.
Yeah. On this next one, I'll make sure I get some of the special little popcorn bags that you get at the movie theaters. I'll make it a whole thing.
Yeah.
we had, even though it was focused on Star Trek, we did have some representation from Orville, and that we had Andre Bormanis, who was also there
Yes.
too, as one of our guest presenters too. So big thank you to him. Also, he of course has Trek connections as a science consultant for End of Next Generation, all of Deep Space Nine, all of Voyager, and I think he was a writer, I believe, for Enterprise too. So yeah, lots of great roles. But yeah, definitely, like for many of us, the virtual TrekCon back in virtual TrekCon 3 or 4, depending on how you number them. What did you say, Anne-Marie? 3?
3.
Okay, virtual TrekCon, because there was the whole like
The 12 days of content.
Exactly, the Christmas one throws it off, but specifically the Laffy Awards in March was fantastic.
That was the clip show. The 12
Yes.
days.
Yes.
Yeah.
That was Shades of Gray.
Sorry, Shades of Grey now, but much better quality.
No, I
you.
love Shades of Gray. I tend to.
Well, it was right
Anything
up there
else?
with the Golden Girls clip shows.
So like
Yeah.
when
There you
Ryan
go.
came up with the award show, I was watching the red carpet thinking this really needs like Joan Rivers, but obviously she's not with us anymore. So I'm really glad to see at Star Trek Day there's Jackie Cox. That said, I just wanted to bring up one thing that someone was wearing that I thought was really special at the Lappies, which was Melissa's bracelet from Sirach when he went to Ethiopia. That was my favorite. Like what
you look
somebody
great,
was
Melissa.
wearing at the Lappies.
Yeah, that was a pretty special bracelet, and I love that nobody else has this bracelet. Yeah, so had to represent because Sirach's often awesome too.
Always loves rock. We have several comments in the chat to bring up here. DJ Kitty Cat highlights that Raven Dowda was also
I was
great
just gonna
too.
say, and Raven Dowda's jewelry. Holy
Yeah.
crap!
Gosh, amazing. Well, and her hair and just her,
Down.
she was just so put
Everything.
together. Yes.
Oh, and I think David Livingston also dressed up, which was
He did?
amazing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sorry, my mom is calling. It's covering up the thing.
Oh, hi, Muhammad Mom.
Aw.
Linda, I'll call her back. Linda Anderegg says, we want the bow tie and popcorn next year too for you, Scott.
Mhm.
Matt Boardman says
Ooh.
3 easy payments of $29.95. If you order today, we'll throw in a great pair of gold pressed latinum scissors.
Ooh,
Okay.
cut into the profit margin. Huh. Yeah.
Going a little bit further back, Galinda says she's tearing up now at some of the memories from it. But yeah, absolutely there.
Aw.
I love Linda Endrick's comment. And to think all this started with a little idea Aaron Eisenberg had for a podcast.
Mm.
Lots
So
of
true.
Lots of great stuff. All
Yeah.
right. Any other thoughts on virtual TrekCon, or should we move on to other news in the rearview mirror?
Well, I
Just
just
can't
need
wait
to
for the
say,
next.
obviously everybody here already knows, but we've had a lot of comments like at STLV and randomly in other people's live chats about virtual TrekCon, and we need more virtual TrekCon. So I think it's really important to remember that like we go live twice a week, every single week on virtual TrekCon with like it's live with a live chat, just in case you're watching this later. And we also occasionally and not, I'd say like it's not rare. It's pretty frequent. We have like special guests from the shows in front of the camera or behind the scenes, or like big names in fandom. So there is content at least twice a week, and it's always free.
Well said. Well said. And going further back in history, the first virtual TrekCon and the second one, I mean, those were great. And again, all free content, great interviews with all sorts of cast and crew and behind the scenes people. Yeah, fantastic content.
And there's starting to be a growing list for the next one. So
There
stay
you
tuned.
go.
Katie, you started to say something a minute ago. I just want to make sure we caught you.
Oh no, I'm just excited for the next one.
Awesome.
Okay, let me just say I may have found somebody from TAS. Okay, that's all I'm saying.
Whoa, good teaser.
Ooh.
Is it a giant Spock?
No, not giant.
Not
Right.
giant.
Not giant.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Baby
Good
Spock,
teaser.
do-do-do-do-do-do.
No.
All right, well, the past year had lots of Nichelle Nichols news. Some of it was exciting, like the farewell convention in December, and then of course that more recently there was a much sadder her passing of it. Melissa, I think you were at that convention. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
Tell
Yeah,
us
it was great. It was great fun. First time that I had ever been to an LA Comic-Con, well, the LA Comic-Con. And I have to say, admittedly, going in, when I was driving there, I was pretty angry because the traffic was terrible and
Aw.
and the parking was a nightmare, but it was so worth all of that. Getting to see Nicholaw in her element and see her shine the way only Nicholaw could shine. People could say what they wanted about her being at the convention, but she was definitely in her element. She had definitely enjoyed interacting with people. And, you know, these things are genuine characteristics that can't be faked usually. And there was just so much joy of her presence at her farewell convention. And then the final party where she's dancing. I've mentioned it many times, but it's my most favorite cherished memories of witnessing just pure joy on this woman who was, you know, taking in the love and dancing, you know, taking every moment and living life to the fullest.
Also, like the TMV where you guys covered being at the LA Comic-Con for that was one of my favorite TMVs of the year. I thought it was like one of the best main viewers. It was like almost like we got to be there through hearing all of you talk about it. It was amazing. I watched it a few times.
Yes,
Aw.
Yeah. And
Scott, I believe in that one, you talked a little bit about your past experience with her too.
yeah, and I just to say, I think I think it was pretty awesome. The the timing of the event obviously was sad in her passing, but yeah, I've said this before, but I think being able to have an event like that, so many people, especially celebrities and things like that, they go through this period where they kind of fall off the radar and people don't pay attention to them, and then they pass away, and it was like, oh my God, I love this person and the contribution that they gave, and it's all the stuff after they passed, you know, and obviously depending on what your particular religious, philosophical, metaphysical beliefs are, but to be able to have a celebration like that of somebody while they're still alive, so that they can participate in it, and everybody is going to be there. Like, I mean, this was like an enormous multi-day event. This wasn't just like, you go to somebody's funeral and a half a dozen people go up and say something, and then everybody goes off and then they talk and stuff like that. I mean, this was like panels of actors and family and friends and people from NASA, people who worked with her, like all up and down the line, like everybody who's ever really been connected to her in her life, getting up and being able to have conversations, and people asking questions, and fans being able to come and participate and meet her and sign and meet other people that were involved, like the astronaut and the other people who were involved in the NASA program. It was something really amazing to be a part of, that I've never been a part of for any particular person, to have an event like that. That's like, this whole weekend is about Nicholaw and celebrating her, and having one huge sort of, not just a party, but just a whole, like a multi-day event. It was something amazing, and kudos to Sky Conway and all the people who put that thing together, and all the people who donated money on the Kickstarters and stuff like that for like the Renegades and things like that. That was all part of like what helped make that thing happen. So it was, it was a fan event, but it was also, just something that took a lot of legwork behind the scenes and organizing, and just it was just an amazing event,
Awesome. Katie,
Right in your paper bag, Melt. Sorry. It just looked like you might have some problems there, friend.
No, it's plastic.
Ah.
it's plastic.
It's
It looks like
plastic
Ah.
and it is glorious. I'm just moving it around to different spots on my lap, and each new
I can order you a
moment on
kiddie
my lap
pool.
is great. It is like a kiddie pool.
It will be by the end of the show. It's kinda nice.
Yeah, true.
Slosh.
Katie, I'm not sure if you met Nicholaw before, or do you have any like reminiscences or impacts from her?
Yeah, I saw her once. It was right after I moved out here to Sioux City, and I saw that she was going to be at GalaxyCon in Minneapolis, and I was like, November 9th, my birthday. I'm gonna do this. And so I went up there, first time soloing a con, and I just kind of walked the aisles, and I stopped for a second because there's a huge line, and it was her line. And I just looked, and poor. So I didn't stop to get like an autograph or anything, but I looked down, I was like, that is her. And it was just so cool to be able to see someone who not only just played a fantastic character, but was clearly a nice person.
Yeah.
And that's something that the
Awesome.
world needs so much more of, is just
Yeah.
genuinely nice people who care about other people. And I think that's the big thing that the big impact she left on me is she cared so much about the fans and people she'd never even met. And she wanted to leave this lasting impression and this legacy that clearly was crafted from years and years and years. And I think the best part of it for me is that she did it. She completely left an amazing legacy. And it's just cool to see not only that, but how she built that through the years and setting a path for others to possibly follow and make the world a better place.
I love it. Beautifully said.
It happens when I'm exhausted. My brain just spews.
No, that was beautiful. That was
This
beautiful.
is poetic, Katie.
No,
It'll
you-
last for about 5 more minutes and then I sleep.
So Dr. Anne Marie, I know you follow a lot of podcasts and shows, and obviously in terms of Nicholaw, there was the Woman in Motion movie several years back. But I mean, since her passing and around the time of her passing, a lot of podcasts have done time talking about her and her impact. What are some things that have jumped out to you from what you've seen lately? Oh, you're muted.
Well, obviously, Women in Motion is amazing, and if you haven't seen it, make sure you watch it. Amazon, Paramount Plus. I really love Sci-Fi Sisters when they talk about Nicholaw. Obviously, that's like one of the most amazing shows with amazing insights, and I can't remember if it's the podcast or like extra content where they've talked about Women in Motion, but like well worth checking out their Patreon. I'll just give a little plug. Also, obviously, like Women at Warp, which has been going for years, like following their Nicholaw discussions, like over the years, have just been insanely powerful. Also, but some of my favorite ones, like since her passing, have first of all been Larry Nemechek and also his LA Comic-Con coverage of her like farewell events. Also, I just love Dr. Trek. So if you're not following Larry Nemechek Trekland, make sure you're doing that on YouTube and Facebook. Also, Inglorious Treksperts did a really great, they always have amazing coverage and talking about, especially the TOS cast in detail as they do things. And then since her passing, they had a really great episode covering her legacy as well. And then, I mean, it's just been like ubiquitous because she had such an impact on everyone, including like NASA's tweets and some NASA panels about her work with the space program, which is obviously covered in Women in Motion. So, I mean, just, yeah, basically there's an abundance of it, but even that isn't enough. I was at like, I'll just like share also, I was at a dinner that was honoring Mercedes Ellington, like Duke Ellington's granddaughter, and her relatives were talking about having Nichelle Nichols like pictures up in their rooms, like at home, because she just like had such an impact on the civil rights movement, and just, I mean, a legacy that goes like above and beyond Star Trek in space even.
Excellent points. Because we think of her in the context of representation in original series of Star Trek, but obviously her impact was much, much greater than just showing up on screen. She was very active. This is laid out in Women in Motion. Very active in terms of NASA recruiting and reaching out. And I mean, she was also in other TV shows. I mean, she like showed up in several episodes of Heroes back in the early 2000s. It's not like
The
Star Trek was her
Lieutenant.
only project. She did various. Sorry, which one?
the lieutenant, which was her first time working with Gene Roddenberry.
Yeah. So I mean, she wide-ranging actress and also big impact outside the screen as well too. Ryan, I know I've been giving you a break in terms of your voice, but I don't want to skip you. I don't know if you have anything you want to add to all this.
Thanks, Mohammed. No, I appreciate it. This is perfect. I've just been texting Scott some vulgarities in the meantime. Please continue. I do want to mention the poll.
Yeah,
we
it's still
asked,
my next thing.
oh, well, please go ahead.
Okay, well, now that you said that, oh, here it is. It disappeared for a second. Okay, so there's a poll in the live chat. What do you like best about this show, the main viewer? So obviously the 4 answers are positive, but make sure to vote in that so that, we make sure to keep doing everything you like.
See, if you really wanted to be narcissistic, you should have put the people who do the panels and just feed the ego. There you go.
See, I didn't want to add those because then I feel like the people answering the question are feel pressured, like they're like, oh great, now I gotta
now I have to go
say
for them.
something nice rather than something honest.
But it's kind of implied in the it's live and interactive, because who are we live and interacting with?
Plus, really, whether they like it or they don't, it's not going to change. So,
yes.
You're not going to sell the show.
If one person here out of spite who's just like, let's see if they make it worse this week. Pretty sure everyone else enjoys.
Yeah.
The big trick is this really is all. I was gonna say the big trick is this really is all pre-recorded. We're just anticipating what different people are gonna comment. We're that good.
Right. And even the comment to hit the like button. No, don't hit it. Stroke it. Maybe it doesn't like violence. So
gently tap.
We just need to say too, we're not talking over Ryan. He just has a very busy day of recording tomorrow with all the new Star Trek and Deep Space Nine going on, and Seventh Rule being so active right now. So we're trying to give him a little bit of a break.
Yeah.
Thank God.
Speaking of the great people and the great people in chat, just reading a few things. Becca says the people who do the panels are my favorite part. And Chuck A says, yes, Becca, absolutely. Going back, there are multiple Anne Marie's amazing kinds of comments. So those are all correct.
Oh, those are paid for. Yeah.
No, they're not. I love J.R. Poole. J.R. Poole says, Dr. Anne Marie's name dropping the who's who in podcasts. Those are some good shows to listen to. Absolutely right. So a lot of love for Larry in there, of course, and Women in Motion, a lot of love as well. So yeah, again, going further. Oh, okay. I saw somebody that said Anne Marie, Mary Ann is the best. I'm not sure what that's referring to.
Oh, it's because actually the TAS person I have, hopefully we can get for BTC for my mom actually found.
So your mom, got it.
My mom's out there finding us now.
Yeah. Katie Carr says, one of the reasons I tried to see the Legends this year at STLV was because of Nicholaw's passing. You never know and must thank who you admire before it's too late. Nice message, Katie. Absolutely. By the way, that should apply not just to stars, but also to all your friends too. So all you guys on screen, I love you all. All you guys in chat, I love
you too. No, it does. It's one of those things that the more you're in a fandom and the more people you lose, the more you realize how important it is and that you want to tell them thank you, or just even if you're just walking past them like I did with Nicholaw, like it's one of those connections that adds a piece to your puzzle of, I guess, just loving them.
Beautifully said, Katie. So speaking of things that we love, let's talk about some of the new shows we got this year.
Oh, I thought we were going to do a dating game. Okay.
And I just want to say too, like before we talk about, as we start talking about the new shows, what's almost been as fun as getting new Star Trek shows is getting new Star Trek friends who work on the new Star Trek shows.
Yeah.
And new guests to come who are like gracious enough to come on the main viewer and the Lappies. Yeah. And all these amazing people, like I can't even name them all, but the one person I'm going to say, because I'm obsessed with his t-shirt stacking Guinness Book of World Records.
I already know where you're going. I just put it in the live chat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Sorry to interrupt, but that's
No, you're good. Actually, I was gonna actually throw a shout out to somebody else from the same show. I was gonna shout out to Bonnie Gordon, who graciously co-hosted all the discussions in the seventh rule of all the Prodigy shows as they came out. So,
good.
great friend,
Heck
great to interact with her online, and then more recently at conventions and stuff too. So,
Yeah.
welcome to the Trek family, Bonnie Gordon.
Yeah. I was actually a couple weeks ago. There's a Star Wars themed bar here in Hollywood called Scum and Villainy. If anybody's been there, it's pretty cool. And a friend was in town, so I said, "Hey, let's go there and grab a drink." Walk in, and Bonnie's there, and it was karaoke night. And she gets up on stage and starts belting out a song. And the couple people that went before her were a little bit cringy, as sometimes karaoke is, and we were kind of making jokes about it. And she gets up there, and she's like a professional singer, and it's like they were like, it was just like, wow, this is like better than the original. Like she like the whole place was just blown away. It was pretty amazing. And yeah,
definitely, we all love her. So let's talk about Prodigy. Like, what before you saw the episode or before you saw the series at all, what did you think we were going to get? Let's go. I've been going the same order each time. Let's start with Anne-Marie this time.
Do you think we're on WTF? Like, what did you get?
Yeah, exactly. It does sound like what's the first.
I mean, like, so I just had no expectations going into it. I was just really excited to have a show geared towards kids that we can start recruiting like the next generation of Trekkies. Especially now
get
that I
them
have a
started in the
nephew.
cult at a young age.
Yeah, exactly. Now that I have a nephew and almost a niece, I was like, yes, I need to convert them. So I mean, I didn't have any expectations. And then what I got after a few episodes was a show I'm like literally really invested in. And I can't even wait for like the cliffhangers they're dropping. And I just was so blown away with that episode where they had Odo. That was one of my favorite. I mean, obviously Dr. Crusher too, because I'm a major Beverly fan.
Michelle
And
too.
Michelle,
Yes.
but like Odo really hasn't gotten love in any other show and doesn't have any like extra love planned. So that one was particularly special. And then obviously we would be like remiss if we didn't mention I'm coming Chakotay as like a crazy line that everybody's repeating for months now. So I mean, it's just amazing storytelling and beyond my wildest expectations. And the people who work on the show are just incredible.
Outstanding. Katie, what was your impression?
Yeah.
Like, before you saw it and then after?
Well, before I saw it, I've learned to go into shows with no expectations, just flat out go for it. Let me watch. But I did have a hope for it, was that I hoped that it would take a family side of things instead of just a kid side of things. And one of the best examples of it, as any parent with young children these days knows, is Bluey, that Australian kids show about the little dog. They make it for the adults too. Like there are all these little hidden nuanced things, and it's fun. And that's what's I think is the key for kids TV now, is if you want to have your kids watch it, you want to have the parents watch it too. And so I was just going in hoping that would happen, because then I knew that we'd get more of it.
Absolutely. Well said. I'm surprised you didn't say Avatar: The Last Airbender there.
Oh, true. Avatar: The Last Airbender, I swear kids watching it are like, pretty colors, and the adults are sobbing in the corner.
Oh yeah. Scott, what was your impression before and after?
Yeah, I think the same thing. You know, there's a little bit of that fear of like, I'm not even going to really want to watch it at all because it's so kid focused that it's just not even speaking to the adult side. And I think they found that good middle line there where you as an adult can watch it and be kind of interested in the story and the characters. And then obviously there's moments and the characters are centered more towards a younger generation, but to have it not completely alienated and feel like you're watching. I'm trying to think of something to compare to other kids shows very well, but I think there's everybody knows those shows where just like as an adult you watch it and you're just like, the show is catering to a third grade audience or something like that. I thought this was very much had that range of something something for the whole family to enjoy.
Well, you know what's great is that the thing that keeps the parents coming back, or at least 25-year-old people like me, is I want Janeway and Chakotay to get together. I don't care if it's a kid's show. Make them kiss. Like, that's all I want.
Lisa Longo, what was your impression of Prodigy before and after?
Well,
and did you want to see Janeway and Chakotay kiss?
I have not had that urge to see them kiss. But it's okay for those who do.
Everyone can have their own choices. I'm just on a very big ship.
And it's okay to have romance in family shows. That's okay too. Because love is all you need. But
Simba and Nala, right?
But I was reserving expectation or expectations, stealing from WTF and Glenn Iverson in the chat. I was reserving expectations until I saw the first episode, but I will say the trailer was very enticing. It was very good. The music, the visuals, all of it were very good. So that kind of got my hopes up. It got me a little bit excited. And then when I saw it, at first I was like, this is Star Wars. And then, but then watching the show in what I've seen so far, it's such amazing storytelling. And I love that they don't skimp on the storytelling or dumb it down for children, or they're preparing their audience to be intelligent viewers. And I love that. No matter what age you are, they're expecting intelligent people to watch this. And there are a lot of intelligent children out there, as well as intelligent adults. So
that's an outstanding point.
So I was very pleasantly surprised, because even though initially I was getting my hopes up, what they gave me exceeded those expectations. So expectations.
No, your point is very well taken, Melissa. The growth we saw in Dahl from the first episode to the last episode, or for Gwyn, like her character arc there, from just somebody working for her dad to being estranged from her dad to joining a team, and we saw that Rock Talk. I mean, that episode Time Amok there. Oh, that's one of those like get you, not get you. Well, and that get you.
That touches on what Kimber says there in the comment section, is that it's emotionally intelligent.
Yes.
The kids don't want just fluffy, oh, I'm sad, oh, I'm happy. Like, it's more nuanced. And kids are attracted to that. So they played it right.
Yep.
Yeah. Yes.
And good representation in there. We have Zero, who's non-binary, in there too. So I mean, it's just great all around. Fantastic show. And
the diversity, I'm sorry, and the diversity is integrated into the story.
Yes.
So it feels more authentic to true life.
Yes. Yeah, it's not meet Zero. Zero is non-binary.
Exactly.
It's normalized. Yeah.
She's allowed to be whatever anyone wants to be. And it's kind of like the way that my friend in college who's non-binary put it was, it's normal. We aren't making a huge deal about it. We just are a part of this group. And it's nice to see that being integrated into it in such a classy way.
Right.
100% agree. I came in similar to Scott, where I was nervous going in, like, oh my God, it's gonna be a kid's show. Am I gonna like it? Now I'm like, I cannot wait for the next episode. I keep saying, like, when are they gonna announce when it's coming back? I want to see more.
Okay, allegedly at Star Trek Day. I was just gonna say, I also am very much looking forward to just seeing Dr. Mohammed Noor's name in the Prodigy credits coming up.
Yes,
that's so exciting. It's so exciting.
All right. Well, so we talked a lot about actually, let's take a look at the chat first. All right, that's the chat. Let's see. Chuck A talks about a Prodigy crossover with Lower Decks, please.
Oh gosh, they'd have to watch the swearing in front of the kids.
Absolutely. Kim, yeah, you mentioned the Kimber Sports comment about being emotionally intelligent. Oh, Katie Nicholaw is in here. Just think about it. It could be the Brady Bunch in space. Janeway and Chakotay get married, adopt all the kids, and they live happily ever after on the Protostar. Good job, Katie. Emery has a great point here, and this is something that brought from the very beginning. Aaron Waltke's Twitter is outstanding, but Emery says this Twitter won me over before the show even premiered. That guy knows his Trek. It's true. Not only does he know his Trek, but he's like amazingly responsive to the fans and the fan community. So I mean,
So lovely.
2 thumbs up
So
to
positive.
Aaron. Pardon me?
And
So
he
positive,
throws
just amazing.
awesome pizza parties. Well,
Yeah.
at least it looks like
He
it.
attends. It was the Heyman brothers who threw it, but yeah.
Okay, but he posted the picture that I saw. So
Awesome.
yeah.
Well, thanks, everybody. Did you want to add anything, Ryan?
That poll, though, everybody go vote on that poll
Yeah.
that we just added.
I wasn't going to comment on the poll.
Yeah, no, we love Prodigy, and we love Aaron Waltke and Bonnie Gordon and all the people that are making it. Agreed on the pizza parties, although I think ours was pretty close
Ours
to
right.
just
Oh
as
my
good
gosh,
on the 7th
that was
rule.
Ours was
pretty
Chicago style
awesome.
deep dish pizza. Mm.
Oh
Yeah.
my gosh.
But it was inspired by
Giordano's
the
is
Prodigy
life.
writers room, so they win on that one.
What did you say, Katie? I missed.
Oh, Giordano's, it's
Giordano's.
life.
Yes,
I love
Giordano's.
Yeah,
Giordano's.
it's the best.
Delicious.
It is delicious.
So
Absolutely.
Oh my
Just don't
gosh.
think of the calories.
I wasn't.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean, I love it so much. I ordered some in the mail during the pandemic.
wow.
And like I took up a poll around our TV station. I was like, okay, who wants to split this? Let's all order in bulk.
Mhm.
And oh, so good.
Wow.
If you ever get a craving, you can buy it through the mail.
Oh,
It's true.
you
It's true.
know, this craving has creeped up.
Well, speaking of
It's
cravings.
dangerous.
Everybody loved season 2 of Star Trek Discovery, getting to meet Anson Mount as Captain Pike and Ethan Peck as Spock. We craved more. We wanted to see more of the Enterprise, more of Una, number 1. We didn't see so much of her in there. We wanted to see more of that. And Star Trek writers group gave us our wish, and we have Strange New Worlds, wildly popular series that premiered this year. So let's go in the opposite order. Melissa,
Yeah.
what are your thoughts on Star Trek Strange New Worlds and its impact? Like basically how it's come out and how others have received it.
I have to say that I love Strange New Worlds. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love the visuals. They haven't skimped on the visuals. I love the character development. Even though it's episodic, I love that there's a through line for every character in the show. And I love that there's surprises in the storytelling too. Especially when Hemmer passed. It's a sad moment, but
Spoilers.
well, yeah. I mean, yeah.
To be fair, it has been months.
I'm totally teasing.
Yeah, but I think they're doing a wonderful job with all of all of their storytelling, and they have some amazing characters, and I love seeing them explore some of the characters that may have not have gotten as much screen time in the past, and that's wonderful because tell me more stories. I love them. They're amazing. Stories are amazing.
Scott, what was your impression? And how do you think it's been received too among the fandom more broadly?
Oh yeah, I mean, I'm super impressed, and I think like every new Star Trek show that comes out is going to have a difficult time pleasing the fan base. I mean, we've seen it. Like, even if you go back and you do your research and you look at TNG, how they're the, letters to the, people saying, oh my God, this isn't Star Trek and stuff like that. Right. But I think Strange New Worlds actually had the biggest challenge, because you're going back and you're saying, we're going to do Kirk and Spock again. And no matter how you feel about TOS, like, Kirk and Spock are like sacred, and it's like William Shatner and Leonard Nimoy defined those roles. They weren't just like actors in the slots, and we see what's happened with like the movies with the J.J. Abrams movies and stuff like that. But taking another stab at that is like that's the biggest risk I think that you can do, is going back to those legacy characters and say we're going to do
their business.
Yeah, and I think that they say the proof is in the pudding. You look at the fan reactions and how everybody's been pleased with the show, and it's engaging, like Melissa said, with the stories, and the writing is there, but the casting and the performances, and they really nailed something to where you get those moments where it still feels like TOS, but really it's in this new generation of like how television is produced and things like that. There's so much about TOS that's kind of stuck in the 60s. You watch some of those old episodes and they're hokey and they're goofy and there's things about it that just make it feel like, oh, this is what TOS is, but it's because it's a product of the time period in which it's written. And that's why like the J.J. Abrams movies feel so disconcerting, because they're these same characters in the new filmmaking style of anamorphic lenses and CG graphics and everything like that, and action sequences that seem so polished and stuff like that, and to like make something that kind of threads that line a little bit, that it doesn't feel like it's that disconnected from TOS, but it's an update to how stories are told. I think they've done a really stellar job, pardon the pun, throughout the whole thing there.
So Katie, I know you kind of hated the series, but no, I'm just teasing. It's
not like I've been swooning over Captain Pike or anything.
Who has? I mean, who has really?
I swear, it's just amazing. No, I Melissa, you touched on it too, was how it's episodic but with arcs, because you get things like Picard where it's an 8-hour movie chopped up each hour for a week. It had threads, and the threads are fun to follow. It is the tapestry of the show, and it helps you get invested in it even more. And I think that the way they've balanced just having a romp on a pirate ship along with these long-term arcs, like number one, that's going to go to a multi-season arc. There's just so many different lengths of threads and styles of threads, and it's just so enticing. You just want to come back for more. It's so good, and it's something you don't really see all that much in TV, because a lot of times with sci-fi right now, it's very dystopian and dark and future and edgy. It's in its emo phase. But Strange New Worlds is bright and colorful like neon sugar, so it's really, really vibing with me.
Oh my gosh.
Love it.
I love this show so much.
Loving your word usage too.
Totally.
Oh yes.
Dr. Anne-Marie, bring us home.
I mean, everything's already been covered a lot. I will say, like, the ensemble cast is just incredible. And the way everybody works together, and it elevates everybody in a very fun way that feels very nostalgic. And also involves the recurring characters more than some of the other nostalgic shows too. And then also I'll just say, in addition, it's just straight up very watchable. You turn it on, you're not looking at the clock. It's very fun viewing. I love it. Great style. Bernadette Croft is just a genius. And then also Star Trek, or Paramount, has also been doing some very fun ways to get everybody involved. And I'd be remiss if I didn't mention how amazing their New York City premiere was for Strange New Worlds. And I even started wearing baseball hats because I just had to wear my Strange New Worlds baseball hat from the event. Super fun.
Definitely should encourage everybody to listen to our friends, the Sci-Fi Sisters, had a podcast specifically devoted to that premiere that was epic. Definitely worth listening to that too. I love all y'all's points. I mean, the context of it being sort of a mixture of arc-based and episodic. I mean, it does have at the beginning of each episode, previously on Star Trek Strange New Worlds, and it has some things that are relevant to bring you in, but each episode largely is pretty standalone. There's just a little bit of context that they bring in from that. So Yeah, no, I agree with all your points. And yeah, the quality is phenomenal. What I love about this, and you guys alluded to this sort of indirectly, is it's broadening our menu, right? We have, as you said, like Picard is the, like you said, the one solid movie. Discovery is pretty close to that. So now this is basically filling in the other end, and especially in the non-animated area. Now, obviously, some of the animated ones are more episodic, but in the non-animated area, we're filling that in. So again, if somebody likes fully episodic, okay, watch Strange New Worlds, and maybe like, you know, watch Picard if you feel like it. If you're the opposite, if you want like the more Battlestar Galactica-ish, the long movie, do it the other way. So yeah, no,
well, it creates bridges that make it easier to access Star Trek that people don't usually want to watch. If it's like, oh, I'm not a big fan of the Next Generation, which who are you? But like this could be a gateway into eventually leaping into Picard. It's almost like going through a board game. It's so cool to see.
Oh yeah, I will also say too, like TOS is so much more like watchable to a modern audience now that Strange New Worlds exists, and I'm like really loving my rewatch. Well, some of the episodes the first watch, but it just makes it so much more fun to watch like 60s Star Trek now that Strange New Worlds exists. And I mean, that's such a feat of like, that's really impressive to do.
And can I interject
Please.
Glenn Iverson's comment? It's really funny. I can totally see a Lower Decks or Short Treks where a Tribble tries to court and mate with Pike's hair.
Oh my God, that's amazing.
I want that so bad.
That is epic. Yeah,
He just comes on the bridge and just has one attached to his skull. No one
Yeah.
ask.
I want to hit the poll, but let's talk a little bit about more from some other things from the chat. JR Pool says at STLV, I told Anson, whoever cast them needs an award. Everyone is perfect. And it's true. Their fan interactions, like seeing, you know, Ethan interact with fans. I mean, they are stellar.
They're so
professional.
Yeah.
It's incredible. And like at the convention, when the panel was running a little bit long with this talking, Ensign leaned over to the moderator and was like, can we get to some of the fans' questions? Like he wanted to make sure that the fans got to ask questions. It was just it was like they'd been doing the circuit for years.
Yeah.
It was awesome to see.
Yeah. And Melissa Navia has been fantastic on social media. I think I even saw, I'm not positive, I think I even saw she did an interview in Spanish too, because she's from Colombia. So that is super cool.
So
Super
awesome.
cool. Linda Anderegg says, anyone see the pic of Anson with his baby Clover, on a merry-go-round today? It was absolutely adorable. Glenn Iverson, I fully expect Pike's hair to be a separate action figure. Kimber Spores, the cast feels like they've been filming for years also. I love how they play off each other and their chemistry is amazing. Absolutely. And it's nice because you see on social media, they like interact a lot too. It's not just they film and then go home. They are interacting with a lot of folks. Melissa compliments Katie on the use of the word tapestry.
Yes, wonderful use of that word. Wonderful word. And Ryan asks, are we certain Pike's hair is not a Tribble?
Ooh.
Oh my gosh.
They did have really cool gray Tribbles at that one spot in the vendor's room.
Yes,
Science division.
Okay, science division.
Yeah.
And we
There you go.
We have to mention how much we love them because they've
Very much
sponsored virtual. I mean, we love them because they're amazing, but also they've been a virtual TrekCon sponsor in the past.
Yeah,
And they're
the
just
world's
fabulous.
first app-enabled Tribbles. You can Google Science Division and
That's
get more
so
information
cool.
about them. It's really cool.
They tossed one into my arms and I didn't know it would vibrate and I freaked. It was so cool.
Okay,
Did
they
you do
have
the
like
scream or the purr?
They did the purr. They were
Oh, good.
nice.
It didn't do the Klingon scream, thankfully.
Oh, attack mode. No, although they did say if you can put it on a motion sensor with that Klingon scream, and if you put it next to your valuables, it'll really scare the daylights out of a robber.
Yeah.
So,
They have a commercial with it sitting on top of a pizza box. So if anybody picks it off to get the pizza.
Yeah, that's really cute. I also love their postcards of the Tribble, like in different Vegas poses, like Tribble
got
is
in
a
Tribble in
showgirl,
Vegas.
Tribble gambling. I got all of them. They were so funny.
Aww.
Yeah.
that's amazing.
Science Division. Make sure you're following them. They're amazing.
Awesome. Let's talk real quickly before we move on to other news. Let's talk real quickly about the poll in the chat. So next week will be our season premiere of The Main Viewer, season 2. So we've finished a full year now. What might make the show better? So there were 4 choices there. One was make it longer than 90 minutes. 7% of you said that one. One was do it twice a week. 11% said that. make it more segmented. That was 30%, so it's getting on a third, but over half said more special guests, more special guests.
Oh, stay tuned for that.
Stay tuned for that, indeed. Ryan, do you have anything to add on either of these things?
Well, Strange New Worlds is great. Very happy with it. Not much to add that hasn't already been mentioned. Looking forward to season 2, and I am very happy and pleased with how it's performed so far and how great everybody is and how well received it is. I'm always interested in seeing how the polls are voted upon. Sometimes I like to guess what's going to win the polls, and I'm surprised to see that more than half the people said more special guests. But yeah, of course, we're working on that. So that's the good news. We're not putting anything in the poll that's impossible. So if you ask for it, we're already kind of thinking about it. So that's the good news. But that's about it.
We do kind of have 2 nights because we do Orville and Chill on Friday night. Or sorry, now it's back to Star Trek and Chill on Friday nights.
Yeah, I was
It
considering
better go back to
having
Orville and
that
Chill sometime.
as one of the options, saying replacing Star Trek and Chill with a second one of these. But I was like, wait, that's just rude. Why would we talk shit about our own show? But everybody at home, you do know that we do a similar show on Friday nights. At the same time, it's also live and interactive. It's less news of the week oriented and more just Star Trek and Chill, just talking about Star Trek and hanging out. Still similar, but different.
Great show.
And eating prawns.
Okay, yeah, that's right. Katie, you had something else to add about Strange New Worlds?
Yes, I do. The fan fiction that has come out of that show, my gosh, not even in just that, oh, I love fan fiction. Wait, no, it is like quality, right? Like novelesque writing. There's one that's over 150,000 words that I read in a day because it was good. So guys, don't sleep on the fan fiction. Type in your favorite character. It's actually really good.
Awesome.
And now everyone knows what I do in my free time.
Are there fan films of Strange New Worlds? Or I guess it's too soon for that to come out. They would have had to have been doing it like at the same time.
Yeah, I haven't seen any, but
yeah, I haven't seen any either.
Awesome.
I mean, given the cosplays, there were so many Strange New Worlds cosplays around. I wouldn't be surprised if there was one coming.
It's nice to see too, like older Star Trek. I know for Voyager and DS9 it is a pain in the butt to get a uniform cosplay.
Yeah.
Strange New World's super easy to find right now. So if that's your thing, go do it.
Fair enough. So another topic which has come up a lot over the years, so it's news from the past year, but it's also news from many, many years, is this idea of a Star Trek 4 parentheses teen movie. Will we ever see this, and will it be in the timing we've been hearing, which is basically like a little bit over a year from now, December 2023? Let me start with Anne-Marie this time. What's your thought on what would you like to see? Let's start
I think it wouldn't be a Star Trek movie without like years of talk about when it's going to happen before. That's just like very on brand. I mean, I'm much more into this show, so I'm happy that a movie gets made at some point. And my hopes for it are just that they're like popular people involved to like appeal to like the general population to get more people into the fandom.
Agreed. That's been a great thing about the J.J. Abrams.
Couldn't really care less.
Oh, sorry.
Can't believe Melissa's laughing at Anne-Marie's answer.
No, I'm not. I'm laughing at the poll.
All I'm saying is I'm scrappy. I
God.
can bring scissors, dude. Like I got your back.
Scissors.
Dragons.
It just got dark.
I've got dragons.
Oh, they're true. And a cat that will be around you and apparently is fiercely loyal. So
we have Doc Power will poison you guys. No, I'm just kidding.
True. Everyone brings such special abilities.
Katie, what would you like to see for Star Trek 4, and when do you think you might see it?
I would love to see the cast come back, of course. I feel like you can't really keep on going with the JJ verse without the JJ verse crew. They're just so cute. But yeah, no, it's definitely not happening for at least like 2, maybe 3 years. Because you have to also take into account the special effects. And those are getting more and more in demand these days. And that's going to tax the studios and the production groups. So probably at least 2.5 to 3 years.
Okay.
But the fan fiction's always there while you wait.
Well, Scott, you're big in the film industry. What's your take on this?
Well, I know I'm not I know not everyone's going to agree with me, but I was secretly hoping for the Quentin Tarantino route for it to happen. I'm a fan of his films, and I think bringing in somebody like that who's an auteur and has got their own like filmmaking style to come in and take the property in their own way, I thought would, it's always risky, but I think something like that would have been a bold choice. And he's a lover of Star Trek, and I think that's kind of what's been sort of missing. Everybody knows there's that famous interview that JJ gave where he was like, well, I was never really a fan of Star Trek. I'm more like Star Wars, and it's just like, people watching that are like, oh, like how do you give all that to somebody who's not that passionate about a property? It could be one thing if it's a new movie or something that's kind of obscure. You're giving it to somebody who's not so familiar with it, but something like Star Trek that's been so popular and so like influential as far as like movies and sci-fi, things like that go, to give it to somebody who isn't like 100% on board with it is like, wow. And I think what we got kind of resulted from that. I know that there was somebody that's been tagged to direct the next one, and I don't know. It's always kind of like, oh, so-and-so's going to do it, and then, oh, that's not going to happen. Oh, so-and-so's going to do it, and then that's going to happen. So I don't know exactly where it's at right now, and that is kind of the thing in like Hollywood and the way things go is, people try to, when they go to try to produce a film, it's like, okay, well, here's, we got the script here, we got, this director, we got this production team, we got these actors all lined up, and then, okay, now let's run that by the people who have the money and can make the say so, and it runs up and down the line, and it's not the creative people who are making these decisions, it's the people behind the desk who are looking at the bottom line and said, okay, well, yeah, this is going to make money, or a movie will come out and they'll be like, well, that sci-fi movie didn't do good, so Star Trek won't make money, so we can't make it. Or, oh, this sci-fi movie came out and made a lot of money, let's do a Star Trek. It's really sort of elementary how a lot of these people think as far as that goes. I mean, they're dealing with hundreds of millions of dollars, and that's always like a huge risk. It's like, who do we like hand all this money over to, that they're going to make something good, that people are going to want to come to the theaters and watch it, and people are going to want to watch, buy the DVDs or stream it or whatever. It's like, how do you safeguard that investment, and also you make sure when you have something like Star Trek, you don't want to make a movie that's really bad that like drives the audience away, where people are, oh, I'm done with Star Trek, I never want to watch any more, this is terrible. Like that's a huge risk too, yeah. You don't want to drive your audience away completely. And so there's all these things that kind of go on, and that's why like sometimes these big projects are kind of teetering on the fence, like, is this thing going to happen or is this thing not going to happen? Because everybody's trying to make it happen, all those different pieces and those players along the line. But they can say, oh, we think this is going to happen, but it's never really sure until they get that stamp and the money goes into the accounts and people are able to start, spending it and give that official green light. So I've been a part of those projects, countless times, where they say, hey, we got this project that, we think is going to happen. And, we'd love to have you on board to do camera, blah, 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 blah. We think it's going to start in October. And I'm like, okay, well, give me a call when it's actually going to happen. Because sometimes that stuff doesn't happen. Or sometimes, oh, well, got pushed to January. I'm like, oh, okay. And I'll talk to them at the end of December. Is it still going to happen in January? Oh, it got pushed to April. and that kind of stuff. It got pushed to October again. It's like that kind of stuff happens a lot too. It's like I said, because you're dealing with like massive amounts of money, and it's this huge operation. So I mean, I'm hopeful. Like Emery saying that, like I think it'll be great to get that cast together, because I think like that core cast was like really, really well put together. Everybody, Zachary Quinto and all those, just amazing job at like reprising those characters and stuff like that. And it's all about the storytelling and how they do it. And hopefully they get some fresh blood in there that can take this great cast and put together the elements like we're seeing in Strange New Worlds and stuff like that. Because I think like Katie was saying about the colors, I think that was like a huge thing. It may seem like something subtle, but you look at like the JJ movies and they're dark and that teal and orange color scheme, and it's like that's one of the things that makes you feel so removed from the original series is that tapestry, right? And you bring those bright colors and those things that you that you like associate with the original series. You bring those colors back, and the mood and the tone, and all of a sudden people feel that connection to the original. So hopefully they bring on a team of people, writers and directors and production designers that have that sensibility and can do it justice moving forward, so that not only we get this movie, but we can continue to get more movies in the future.
Oh, well said. And Dr. Emery says that you should direct it, by the way, Scott.
Hey, I'll put my number in the thing there. Someone can call me. I'd love to.
Yeah. Melissa, would you play a role in it if you were invited?
Of course. Are you kidding me?
That would be awesome. What are your hopes for it?
Yes. Call me. Somebody call me.
You're available.
Yeah.
I'm always happy to work, but especially in anything to do with Star Trek. So.
Oh yeah. And you'd be awesome.
Oh, thank you.
Do you have any other hopes or thoughts for it?
I hope it happens. We keep getting teased about it. But teased that there is a movie coming and it's in the works and all of these things, but there doesn't seem to me much action as far as production goes. So we'll see how it goes, and of course I'm open for another movie too.
Katie, you had something you want to add real quick?
Yeah, because honestly, the way that I can't remember which comment it was, it scrolled past, but something made me think, with this one, we always talk about the JJ verse as, TOS. What if they launched forward to like Picard era and they introduced the whole next gen cast recast? Could you imagine?
Wow.
And just do like a generations version in the JJ verse. I think that might be too much.
That would be intense.
Would it be interesting?
That's brilliant.
Talk about risky, like managing fan expectations and pleasing fans, like recasting Picard. Ooh, that's
you would get people to come to the theater just to see what it is. You don't release a trailer or anything. It's just a black screen. You're like, come find out. ...
It's still holding out hope.
Why are you laughing at Katie's answer? You're always laughing at people's answers.
She's hoping for enjoying it.
I'm hoping for a multiverse aspect where they have like the J.J. Abrams people meet the original or whatever, or the Picard people or Strange New Worlds or anything like that. I mean, they did that actually. And there's precedent for that with Patrick Stewart, because remember he was in X-Men, but they brought him into the Doctor Strange thing. So we had the streams crossed there with him already. So maybe they can do it there.
It'd be amazing.
Maybe it'll be that cast with Avery Brooks. It'd be amazing.
Ghostbusters.
We have a new poll in here for folks, but before we talk about the poll, let me pull up the comments in the chat there. Let's see. Katie Carr says, I never care for the JJ films. Nothing against the actors, but it just isn't for me. Fair enough. But the music is great. Totally agree on that aspect. Let's see. Glenn Iverson says, if JJ had little to do as he did with the third movie, I think the fourth Kelvin could be a huge hit. It's true. It's sad that the third movie didn't go over better than it did. I mean, I thought it was fantastic, Star Trek Beyond, but
Great.
yeah.
I hear that. I hear a lot of people say the same thing. Like they actually think that third JJ movie should get more love. I was just hearing like Inglorious Treksperts talk about that this week, which I think is, I mean, that bodes well for what they're doing with the movies.
Yeah.
I think the only thing that's separating the fandom on them is really the Star Trek Into Darkness. That
I
was
think that's true. Yeah.
very
Agreed.
divisive one.
Yeah. Mona Mejas agrees with you, Scotty. He says, she says Tarantino would be great. So we have some support there. We're running out of time. That we have one other topic I'm just going to bring up quickly. This was big news too, which is that the entire cast of Next Generation returning in Picard season 3. That, like, and you guys remember the trailer from earlier this year showing all the different folks coming in there. We have Geordi coming back, Worf with his nice white hair coming back. We have Crusher coming back. And then, of course, continuing with Riker and Troy and folks like that. So that's big news. We have something with Denise Crosby that we're trying to figure out still. We're trying to define.
Beverly Crusher in like 8 to 10 episodes, which is my favorite.
Yep. So that's definitely big news. Given we're running out of time, I don't know if you guys have some thoughts on that real quick. I'm not going to go around the whole screen, but do you guys have anything you want to, any big surprise, like, oh my God, I didn't think Crusher would ever come back or anything like that?
Denise Crosby, 100%. I thought she was done. I'm all in. I want to see where this goes. Like, does Data have a secret hologram of Tasha, and are they both just living in a holographic world now?
Wow.
And we don't know Denise Crosby.
Katie,
it still could be an action figure.
What are you thinking when you say Data has a secret Tasha Yar hologram?
I think
I don't
they
know where
have
you're
a
trying to take
sailing
this
ship
show.
and they run around the Greek corridor. I don't know. They could do whatever they want. I'll leave that to the writers to discover.
Ryan, did you want to read a Star Trek Day thing, or do you want me to do a Next Generation one or a trivia card, and then we can talk about things coming up this coming week?
Please repeat the question.
Sure. Do you want to read a Star Trek Day trivia question, or would you like me to do a Next Generation one from over there? I've got my stack here.
We kind of have to see if there's one left.
That's true. There might not be.
Let's start over and see what we learned.
Love that.
I don't know if we had this one. What were the last words of the last episode of Star Trek, the original series?
Or the last words of
I've
the
heard
last
that
episode of
question
Star
at
Yeah,
some
we think we did do that one. Of Star Trek.
You think so?
Well, just do it.
I clearly
let's
didn't
do it.
learn it.
It's okay.
Is it A, engage, B, Scotty, beam us up, C, anything is possible, or D, if only?
Engage, Scotty, beam us up, anything is possible, or what was the last one?
If only.
If only.
Yeah. Well, I'm just gonna say that does not beat the end of one of the movies where he says, "Second starter, the right and straight on till morning." That's my favorite of the like end lines for something.
If anyone even references that, I start to get chills. It's just like,
Yeah.
oh.
So awesome.
So that episode, the last episode of the original series, I believe, was Turnabout Intruder, just for context there.
Yes.
So folks in the
Oh yeah,
chat,
context is king.
context is king. Those were not the words. So yesterday on the 7th Rule, we had the episode with the Ducat sex cult on Terok Noir.
Yes.
I don't actually remember the name of the episode. Was it Covenant? I think that was
Covenant.
it.
Covenant.
It was
Yeah.
Covenant. Awesome. So that was definitely a fun one and a great discussion on there. So make sure to tune into the 7th Rule YouTube channel to see the discussion of that one. Tomorrow on the Falling Towers YouTube channel, watch the first episode. We'll be talking about Transformers, more than meets the eye.
Ooh, that's
With-
fun.
with
That's a
spe-
colorful one.
Yeah, with special guest Rico E. Anderson, our buddy from the show. So check out and
And that's
see.
for Saturday morning cartoon month.
That is for
I watched
good
the
call.
first.
That is for Saturday morning cartoon month. So very
Yes.
exciting to see. And we'll have more Saturday morning
is
cartoons coming soon.
Is it the original, very
The
first?
original 80s
Transformers show?
cartoon. Yep. The
Wow.
original
Nice.
1980s one. Yeah.
That's
Definitely.
awesome.
Not one of the
that was
reboots,
in
not the
night-
'90s one, like Optimus Prime still
where they
on.
where they weren't Transformers.
Yeah, no, it's all good.
where they didn't actually transform, they were just robots.
Yeah, so that is Wednesday, 9:00 Eastern time, 6:00 Pacific time on Falling Towers YouTube channel. On Thursday at I believe 9 p.m. Eastern time, 6 p.m. Pacific, we'll have the review of the 3rd episode of season 3 of Star Trek Lower Decks. Be very
Yay.
excited. I haven't seen the episode,
Yes.
so I don't know
With
anything
a
about
very
it.
special guest.
Oh,
Oh.
are you gonna tell us who it is, or is it a surprise?
No, Anne Marie is ruining my joke. She's like, "There's no special guest," but just pretend there is.
Aw.
It was just for there's special guests in the
Ryan and
Ryan and
Siraj.
Siraj, exactly. Ryan and Siraj. So that's on the 7th Rule YouTube channel. On
You guys
Friday,
could pull
Okay,
it.
and just also to say that Thursday Star Trek Day and Star
yeah.
Trek Day programming is 12 to 2 p.m.
good call.
9 Eastern time. Maybe they'll do like a surprise hour before and after. That's like people aren't sure if that'll happen yet, but yeah. So ours is at 9 p.m. So you don't have to Eastern, so you don't have to worry about any time conflicts. You can do everything.
Yes. Good, great reminder about Star Trek Day. Thank you, Doctor. On Friday, coming back to Star Trek and Chill. This will be on this channel right here. This is on what's the name of the channel? Virtual Trek Con.
Where are we?
Yeah, right. 8:00 p.m.
Space.
Eastern, 5:00 p.m. Pacific time. So be sure to tune into that. And then finally on Sunday, we have the next episode of Deep Space Nine. I don't remember what that one is then. Do you remember which one that is?
On Sunday is
If it doesn't have a sex cult,
Chimera.
it's not worth the time.
Chimera.
No sex cult.
Chimera,
Chimera. Got
which
it,
is
got
the
it.
one with J.G. Hertzler as
Yes.
Changeling Loss.
Awesome.
Then it's worth the time.
Got
That
it.
sounds like it's ripe for a very special guest.
It does sound like it's right for a special guest. So that's at noon Eastern time and 9 a.m. Pacific, bright and early for you Pacific folks. So be sure to tune in for that. So, Ryan, what is the answer to the Star Trek J trivia question? It's the last one from this box.
D, if only. Good job,
Yes.
Katie.
Oh, nice work.
Good job.
Haven't
What's
The
gotten
it?
same thing I did on my ACT. Just answer D.
That's
Okay.
funny that this was maybe the first time we've had a or a trivia question where we had like really varied answers. Usually everybody just picks the right answer.
Hard.
Yeah, I see there's lots of C answers and there are lots of D answers. I guess nobody said engaged, but since it's original series, fair.
You never know.
If-
Like the TNG music shows up in the TOS series. So maybe it was like an inadvertent clipping, like promo.
It's true, and that was it Star Trek: The Motion Picture had the TNG music, right?
Mhm.
Oh, yeah,
Ooh.
awesome. So
Sorry, Scott. What were you gonna say?
I was going to say, if only I knew the answer to that question.
Dr.
I'm just going in for Ryan. Just going in for Ryan.
Anne Marie Siegel, can you tell us where people can find you?
Yeah, on Twitter at AnneMarieSiegel1.
Twitter at Anne Marie Siegel 1. Great person to follow. She has great stuff. She retweets a lot of good content, shares a lot of good stuff. So check her out.
Especially coming up, Star Trek is gonna have those like I guess they're somehow interactive VR a bit, like Delta Shields that are popping up in 6 cities around the world. So in the US, it's
Ooh.
Chicago, LA, and New York. So that starts hopefully tomorrow morning, although it's raining. So I'm gonna take a pilgrimage to the New York one to start posting that all over my social media. So
I'll get
whenever
you
I
a
get
forecast.
Oh, Scott, we feel real bad for her that she has to endure rain right now, don't
I
we?
know. And then in
Aw.
LA, it's at the Grove, and in Chicago, it's at Water Tower.
Is it worth a 7-hour drive? I could do that. That work. I could
While you're
do
thinking
that.
about that, Katie, three-time Emmy nominated Katie, where
Yeah.
can people find you online?
You can find me at weather_Katie on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. And then on YouTube, I'm so many random fandoms because I can't choose just one.
Absolutely. And you do well with all your fandoms. Thank you for all you do, Katie.
Thank you.
Scott Baker, where can people find you online?
I'm on Mr. Scotty Baker on Instagram, and that's where I'm most active. And then Facebook, Scott Baker. I don't know what my name is on Facebook, but yeah, if you're already friends with Ryan, Ryan's friends list, and you'll find me. But yeah, most active on Instagram, Mr. Scott Baker.
All right, so stalk Ryan T. Husk on Facebook and then go to Scott Baker from there. Melissa Longo, where can people find you online?
Melissa Longo on all of the social medias. Well, not all of them, most of them.
No Tumblr. No Tumblr.
No Tumblr. No Tumblr.
Pinterest?
No. Yeah,
Oh.
just the three big ones. And and then the YouTube, Melissa Longo, and a new place.
Yes.
Called the Introverted Republic. This is the new home for walking art made by Melissa, and you can find all of my stuff. Well, eventually there, but there's a ton going up as we speak. So
Outstanding. Definitely check out Melissa's wares. Her shirts are fantastic. Especially check out her new Uhura shirt, which is stellar.
So many people were wearing that in Vegas. It was awesome. Every time I saw it, I was like, I know who makes that.
Oh yeah, it's outstanding. Ryan T. Husk, where can people find you online?
Well, let me tell you, Virtual TrekCon, The Seventh Rule, and Falling Tower on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter. I don't do much Instagram, but when I do, I just click like on Scott Baker's post of his Steadicam rig is, he's visiting different sets and takes really cool artistic shots. So you got a future in taking shots, Scott Baker.
Thanks.
I don't just mean
I'll
The past too.
I'll consider following that up.
And for me, you can find me on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram at Mafnoor, M like Michael, A, F like Frank, Noor, and like November, OOR, or on YouTube as Biotrekkie, BIOTREKKIE. Before we go, let's talk about the very last poll that showed up there in the live chat. It says we've done 20 episodes of Star Trek and Chill now. That's the Friday show. Fridays 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern time, 5 o'clock p.m. Pacific time. What do you think might make the show better? So one is less loose, more structured. 0 people pick that one. Everybody likes loose and goose, no structure there for Fridays. One was a bit more news to it, 8%. So a couple people said that. 20% of you said more special guests, but 72% said they want to see funny hats. So, there we go.
Nice,
Katie's ready.
Katie.
Yeah.
Nice.
Aw. I can't do the headphones and the hat.
Totally
That
fair.
was great.
Totally
Boom.
fair. Well, everybody in the chat, thank you all for participating, and please, everybody, wish Ryan good health for his voice.
Yeah.
So, good chance to rest and recover and be back, strong and ready for the upcoming
Recording
shows.
tomorrow. Recording tomorrow.
Recording tomorrow.
Enjoy your bag, Ryan. It looks
Yeah.
delightful.
Well, thank you all. Ryan, Melissa, Scott, Anne Marie, Katie, Nicholaw. Thank you all for being here.
Thank you for hosting.
Yeah, thanks, Mom. Good job.
Mhm.
My
Good
pleasure.
job.
Happy to
Woo.
pitch in.
Now,
Great to see
now
everybody.
we don't need Ryan anymore.
No, absolutely not. We definitely need Ryan.